Hello everyone and welcome to this Durbanites FPL Game Week 26 review, Game Week 27 preview. So let's start as usual with the table. No one moving up this week, no movement up or down, but the margins are now razor thin. Dora the scorer just 3 away from retaking the lead after Mohamed Sadiq's 8 weeks at the top, 9 weeks in total. Otherwise, the margins are razor thin throughout the table with a dozen weeks to go. Still, anything can happen. Now, looking at our play selections across the league, only 6 staples now. Ollie Watkins still leading the pack. Saliba and Haaland after that were Areola, then Saka and Kieran Trippier. Trippier is now dropping a little bit since having a 9 out of 10 selection a few weeks back. Now looking at the differentiators for this week, double Jared there, Jared Bowen and the youngster Jared Brantwaite from Everton, both of them within the differentiators on scores, and Douglas Luiz coming in with 15 that week, just 1 out of 10 managers for him and Bowen, and Brantwaite 2 out of 10 taking a chance on the youngster. Pascal Gross now at 3 out of 10 and still adding consistently week after week, and then Phil Foden with 4 out of 10. Now, looking at the hits and misses for this week, not much to speak about on the hit side. Got to give it to Zaxia for playing Jared Bowen. She's the one manager, 20 points. He came in with that hat-trick, made a big difference to her week as well. No misses this week, which means a really good play by all the managers, just the results didn't go their way. Now, looking at our best possible selection for the squads that we had, nothing much to talk about at the back. Brantwaite starting and a few clean sheets along the way. All goals, so Maguire for Manchester United. Very few Manchester United players make it onto this, so really good for him this week. Really strong midfield again. Foden, Douglas Luiz, Saka, Gross, Bowen. These guys seem to be cementing their place here week after week that they're coming in, so also good indication for managers to look at that setup. Now, Ollie Watkins is the only striker making it onto the field this week. Solanke and Haaland sitting on the bench because it wasn't really a good week for the strikers. Ake is unfortunately the only defender on the bench, still with 6 as well. And Leno and Pickford are the pick of the goalkeepers that we had. The setup would have got you 123 points with a total of 139 if you played your bench boost, with a total cost of 100.5, so just a little more expensive because of Erling Haaland, but definitely gettable at this stage of the season. Now, looking at the fixture rating coming up ahead, things are going to get super interested. Looking at this week, Aston Villa still on the back end of their good run coming up, and then also having Brighton and Bournemouth. Bournemouth is one to look for. Burnley and Sheffield Luton, so playing 3 out of the 4 bottom teams this 2 weeks. So Neto is a good call as a goalkeeper, and of course Solanke, who seems to be on form but is doubtful, so just want to watch out for. Spurs are coming back into a good run of games as well, as is West Ham. Important to look at game week 29 as well, because there are a lot of blanks coming up. 12 teams will blank in game week 29, and that brings us to being cautious as well. Manchester United without Rasmus Haaland are suddenly becoming not so reliable for points anymore after a good run of 4 games. Now they've lost. They've got Man City up this weekend. It's going to be tough at the Emirates. At the Etihad. And now looking at Notts Forest, Sheffield United, Wolves, all of them tough games coming up, as well as the blank in game week 29. Brentford and Chelsea playing each other as well, and then playing some of the top teams, and then again a blank and a run there. So Brentford is actually coming up on a run from the Burnley game onwards. Might be well worth it to look at their players. Man City is one I would say avoid. Manchester Derby coming up this weekend. Anything can happen. Good to note though that Manchester City have scored 10 goals in the last 2 times that they've had this fixture at the Etihad. So well worth it maybe to look at this week, but then next week Liverpool, that's going to be probably a tight game, and then a blank in game week 29. If you've got guys like Erling Haaland, that's a lot of money to be keeping on the bench, so just be aware of that. Now, let's look at the player selections on the back line. Pope and Alisson are still out, but joining them is Trent Alexander-Arnold and Maguire for Manchester United. But then you've also got Porro, Pau Torres, Thiago Silva, Zinchenko, Udogie. These are very familiar names to our managers. All of them doubtful, so you're going to take a chance on them, even though some of them might be in favorable fixtures. Looking at the picks though, for goalkeepers, I really have to call out Neto from Bournemouth. He has been a consistent performer, and with the 3 games coming up, it would be unwise not to have him. And then looking at the other goalkeeper, Areola from West Ham, he's really good for points. Even if they concede, he does put in a fair amount of saves, and is often in the bonus points if they do get a clean sheet, so one to watch. In the defenders, Arsenal has been really good at not conceding goals. Saliba and Gabriel are also good at scoring goals from set pieces, so there's been a lot of points up for grabs from these two. Jakub Kiwior is also a good Arsenal defensive choice if you're short on budget. I think he's coming in at about 4.6, so definitely one that you might want to add in, and he got an assist last week. Pau Torres, Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker is going to cause all sorts of trouble down the left of Manchester United this week, so maybe worthwhile to look at him. Then you've got a Stupinan who's not played a lot. There doesn't seem to be an injury, so I'm just wondering what's happening with him at Brighton. But he is also a points getter and a goal scorer, even if he's not getting the clean sheets. Bournemouth now gets an extra player in the call out here, Marcos Senesi, who's by far their out and out star defender. And with the games that they have coming up, a good chance for him to get money again if you are short on budget. Conor Bradley for Liverpool, with Trent Alexander-Arnold be out, he's going to play. He has the opportunity to score as well, so putting him in at 4.1 definitely makes sense. And then Kieran Trippier, which many of you have at Newcastle, always good for the assists. Now, looking at the midfield, so many injuries in midfield. Kaoru Matoma, Brian Mbeumo, Jota, Salah, big one for this week that's out. Richarlison from Tottenham, after his good run of form, also not available. He is highly doubtful, about 25% to play, and is still doubtful. So it's going to be very tough in the midfield. Still, there's a lot of selections based on the games. Douglas Luiz and Diaby from Villa. Then looking at Gross Adingra coming out of Brighton. And then West Ham trio there, Bowen, Ward-Prowse and Kudus, although Kudus has not performed that well after AFCON, so maybe not the best idea to put him in. And then looking at Arsenal, Saka definitely has been a star boy for the last 5 or 6 weeks, but Havertz has also had 2 amazing weeks, double-figure returns in both weeks, so maybe one that you want to look at. Then you've got Jordan Ayew, you've got Gordon, Tavernier, Luis Diaz, and Son. So Son has got a good run of form, also playing in game week 29. It's also important to keep track of these things, guys, or you're going to have a very tough game week 29. Looking at the forwards, again, a lot of injuries to key points getters. Rasmus Højlund is out for Manchester United. Callum Wilson is out. Chris Wood is doubtful for Nottingham Forest. Raul and Cunha are out. João Pedro is still out, and Solanke is doubtful. That is by far the biggest blow, I think. But looking at the picks, definitely got to go for Watkins from Villa. Gabriel Jesus is back and fit, so Arsenal might definitely put him up front. Looking at Ferguson and Welbeck from Brighton, they have been scoring in the absence of João Pedro. And then I have to still call out Solanke. Even though he's doubtful, he's still worth it. 3 very favourable game weeks in 2 weeks. What's 3 favourable games in 2 game weeks? It's really worthwhile looking at it. So that's it for this week, guys. Sorry for the late posting, having some trouble with the streaming. But if you're still enjoying these videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on anything that you want to see differently. And good luck for this week, and catch you on the next one.